It's Friday, the 8th of September 2023. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Jennifer Duke.
Good morning, Michael.
Jen, we've got 5 stories to get through in 5 minutes, so let's get cracking. Story number 1, Philip Lowe has delivered his last speech as Reserve Bank Governor, where he warned that it will be difficult to return to a world and an economy that we had pre-pandemic, and he also urged society and politicians to address housing affordability.
So he said that Australia has some of the highest housing costs in the world, and not because of interest rates, which the Reserve Bank obviously has control of. Low rates have contributed to rising prices, but because of choices we've made as a society. He reckons it's things like urban planning, transport systems, and the way that we tax housing and land that are among the reasons our homes are just so expensive. And he called it a serious social and economic problem.
Now, Dr. Lowe has had a really tough couple of years. He faced a lot of attacks in the media, a lot of criticism because the Reserve Bank's central case for rates, that they would remain at record lows until 2024, well, it was wrong. And you are, in your day job, the economics correspondent for Capital Brief. You would have been keeping a very close eye on this speech. What did he say about that very tricky period?
Yeah, so Dr. Lowe said that he knows that some of his explanations around that time missed the mark. But he actually also used his speech to hit back at the media. So in particular, he was disputing headlines and articles that claimed he made a promise that rates wouldn't go up, which is actually right. He never promised. It was a forecast. He also said that he didn't make other points attributed to him, such as that everyone should get a flatmate, people should have to work more hours to make ends meet, or that young people should stay home and save cash because of the rental crisis. And he reflected on the difficulties of communicating in the social media and digital age as well for central banks.
All right, a very wide-ranging speech by the sound of it for his very last one as governor. Story number 2, Australia's housing market hit $10 trillion in value at the end of August. That's based on the latest CoreLogic data, which values the median home across the country at just about $730,000.
It's super expensive, and we have actually passed this milestone before, but house prices fell back a bit, and this marks the first time since June last year that we've hit the milestone again. So with home values rising between March and August by just under about 5%, we've actually clawed back about half of the loss from the downturn already. And CoreLogic says that migration, a relatively low number of people living in each property, and people using savings and equity to buy more homes has contributed to this climb. Plus, supply is just way too low. So our national housing stock has increased to about 11 million homes. And CoreLogic isn't convinced the market is going to keep growing at this pace, though. We're yet to see how the impact of higher interest rates is going to play out.
Story number 3, I love this story, Jen. Over in Spain, there has been a surprise spate of thefts of all things olive oil.
Yeah, the olive oil industry is under a lot of pressure in Spain. So the price of olive oil has jumped to record highs in the middle of a serious drought over there, and that's in turn making it much more of a target for organised crime. So Bloomberg is reporting that in August, about 50,000 litres, and it's worth about 500,000 euros, was nicked from a mill in Spain. And this is just one of a wave of olive oil crimes that's threatening to push prices even higher. There was a 29% jump in the thefts of raw olives in one Spanish region during the 22-23 season, and there has been a rise in groups faking olive oil. So it's a reminder of those knock-on effects of climate change and volatile prices.
Story number 4, Jen, a new deal between Universal Music and French streaming service Deezer possibly marks the biggest shift for musicians' earnings since Spotify took hold.
So the two companies are aiming to put more cash back in the hands of professional artists, which is defined as those with 1,000 listens a month minimum. So those who reach this threshold actually get double when calculating royalties. And if someone is actively looking up a musician, it lifts their royalties again. And it could mark a double-digit rise in payouts to musicians. So I was particularly taken back by the explanation from Deezer CEO Geronimo Filgueira, who was reported by the Financial Times as explaining it a bit like this. So they've got 90 million tracks on their Deezer service, but some of them are literally just noise, like the sound of rain or a washing machine. And he doesn't think that those tracks should bring in the same amount for a creator as, say, Harry Styles gets for putting his big songs on there. This could also improve services by reducing the cash going to bots, the white noise producers and amateurs.
Okay, last one. Story number 5. Google is going to force advertisers to disclose when election campaign advertisements are, quote, inauthentically depicting people or events, such as, for instance, when they use AI.
So Google is trying to combat the problem of digitally manipulated content for political gain. So it wants advertisers to tell people if it's making them look like they did or say something that didn't really happen. This is going to kick in during November, which is way ahead of the 2024 US elections. And next week, the Google CEO is going to be alongside the Microsoft boss and former boss Bill Gates at an AI forum in Washington. The Financial Times thinks that this will actually be the foundation of legislation on AI in the US, and it's being hosted by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg will apparently be attending as well, and there have already been cases of people using AI to recreate voices and images of politicians and celebrities for content, and people are pretty often deceived by them.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Jen.
Thanks so much, Michael.
It is Friday, the 8th of September, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed Business News wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.